Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I've been using Google AI for almost everything ever since it rolled out. I still remember the very first thing I used it for. I was really anxious about a girl that I might see at a meetup group, and I rehearsed a number of situations with AI. The very first thing I thought about was that the venue we were going to was a meetup group. It was at a Chinese restaurant, and I knew there were going to be 15, 20 guests. And I was trying to decide what was the best time to arrive at the restaurant. Should I arrive before everybody came, or should I go 5 minutes into the party? And I came up with a little bit of a hybrid strategy after brainstorming with Google AI. Because Google AI did suggest going a little bit late. But I also realized that if I went in late and I realized that there was a problem, right? After all, I am autistic, I have food allergies, and if I went in late and I realized I had a problem, it might be too late to negotiate some of those problems. So I came up with a little bit of a hybrid strategy. I showed up to the restaurant about a half hour before the party to talk to the restaurant staff. And what was really interesting, and this part I did not Google AI, what was really interesting was that one of the waiters was about my age and he could relate to the wanting to network with a girl there. And I asked him about it, and he suggested that he could come by my table and pretend to know me, and we could talk a little bit about because he's studying calculus. We could talk about some really advanced calculus stuff to impress the girl. I didn't Google AI this part. I probably should to see if that's a good idea going forward. But that was a nice bonus. And then I showed up 5 minutes late. And long story short, did anything happen with the girl? Not really, but it was a good experience. And I think if we were measuring this on a long game scale, where the girl might later on help me connect with other girls, I think I played the long game very well, right? And so that was the very first encounter that Google AI had helped me with. But ever since then, I find Google AI to be the go-to for any sort of how-to in life, right? So, for example, a difficult situation with a roommate, I had a minor conflict this past month. I was staying at an Airbnb, and I had extended the stay, but the host somehow didn't get the notifications on his phone, and he was I had slept in that day. You know, I didn't have a morning shift that day, so I slept in, and he came in to wake me up and all that. And Google AI helped me compose a complaint about that too. I had funny thing is that I have to think about when not to use Google AI. Sometimes I get so involved, like for example, sometimes I make a new friend, and the entire relationship has been predicated on Google AI that I hate to go off of Google AI because I worry that my friend might see that shift, right? The other limitation of Google AI, if you're going to use it, is that Google AI can strategize. What it can't do is help you do the uncomfortable of delivering what you need to deliver, right? So, for example, with the situation with the girl, it gave me the roadmap, but you know, at the end of the day, you're the one who has to actually drive on that map, right? Just thought I would point that should be pretty obvious. The other issue is that obviously you need to digest these things because eventually some of these things will happen real time where you can't say, hey, let me look at my phone, right? You're not going to do that in the middle of a first date or a job interview. So one thing you might do is do hypotheticals, right? Hey, if I'm at a job interview and this happens, right, what do I do, right? What are some red flags to watch out for at that job interview, right? Do hypotheticals before, yeah, and realize that even if you run 100 hypotheticals, the 101st one might just come up, right? So you have to be willing to generalize a little bit. Um, Anyway, it's become a little bit of addiction. Sometimes I get so carried away that I start running all sorts of bizarre what ifs, and I gotta be careful not to do that because sometimes you can scare yourself, right? After all, we can all come up with the 1 in a billion scare story that might happen, right? We could all be involved in a plane crash. We could all be randomly murdered. You can run all of that through Google AI and scare the crap out of yourself, right? Sometimes I also use Google AI to fantasize about random what ifs, right? So, for example, I I believe it or not, I've been chatting with a celebrity from another country. Sometimes I'll use Google AI to fantasize about how that could go down as well, right? Not exactly very productive, but you get the idea, right? I gotta be careful though because I've been so reliant on Google AI that entire relationships, jobs, and hobbies have revolved so much around it that it's almost hard to continue them without it. That I do have to be careful of. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.